Hey, it's Ryan from upfitsupply.com, and in this video we're going to be installing some Luverne Omega 2 side steps on our GMC Savana. Let's get started. Luverne does provide installation instructions in the box. You can also get them on our website, upfitsupply.com. Look up the part number, and we can have a link to these as well if you need these. Make sure you reference this for the ultimate source of information. Of course, we're doing our best to follow that as well. So just a couple of quick prep items before we get underneath the van. Number one is you're going to take out your brackets and kind of figure out where they go. These brackets are not stamped with numbers or sides or anything like that. So you're gonna have to use that installation instructions to figure out which brackets go where. And what I did to make it helpful is I actually wrote on each bracket where they go. So this is R1. I made a mistake, I thought it was L3 at one point, but this is R1 bracket. This is gonna be on the right side, the first bracket. Your first brackets are gonna look like this. It's gonna have a little bend like this in the bracket. First bracket's gonna go in like this with this plate facing backwards, and your little flange here where the step's gonna sit facing backwards as well. Then we have your second and third brackets are basically the same, but they're mirrored. So this is the R2. Again, we're gonna have this plate here facing backwards and this little lip facing in the back. No bend up here in this one. That's what's gonna set this apart from your first bracket. And then your third bracket is basically a mirror of this bracket. So you're gonna get two of these. You're gonna have one for your third bracket on your right, one for your second bracket on the left. Same thing with the second bracket. It's gonna go third. But again, no bend here. This time the plate's gonna face forward and your flange is gonna face forward. And then finally, your fourth brackets are kind of easy to identify. There's no little top section on there. It's got a little cutout right here, and it looks like this. So this is my R4. I'm starting out on the right-hand side of the vehicle or the passenger side. You start on the driver's side. The installation is the same on each side. It's a no-drill installation, meaning you're not having to drill holes in the frame or anything like that. You're actually, for your first three brackets, you're gonna take out the bolt that essentially mounts the body to the frame of the vehicle. Take that bolt out, you're gonna slide the bracket underneath, put that bolt back in. That's your first three. This last one here actually goes into an existing bolt on your leaf spring. Here on our first bracket, we're actually going to take this little slide-on nut, and it's gonna go into, we have a 3500 Savana. We're gonna go into this lower hole here on the back, and we want the little threaded portion to be on the outside. We're just gonna slip this over that hole, and if you have a 1500 van, it's actually gonna go in the top hole. First, we're gonna take out this body mount bolt. This actually is just staying in place because of rust and stuff, but if it does come down, you're just gonna make sure that this goes up against this bracket here, and the bracket's actually gonna sit underneath this. You take that same bolt removed, put it through the top hole in the bracket, go back in. Next, you wanna check this bracket right here and make sure that it's perpendicular to the body of the van. Next part's a little bit harder to show you underneath the van, but you're gonna take your long hex bolt like this, and you're gonna put on a serrated flange nut like this. You wanna get it almost up here, close to the bolt head as you can. So this is actually gonna be on that bracket. We're gonna go through here and thread this through. Once it pokes through the other side, you're gonna take another one of these serrated flange nuts, put this on. I'm just gonna thread this through. Once you get about 3/4 of an inch through the edge of this nut, you're gonna take your washer and your little rubber washer here. Slide this on the end. So this is gonna be facing against the frame essentially. And you're basically going to tighten this up so that touches. Then you're gonna tighten this bolt up against here, tighten that up, and that's what's gonna keep it in place. When you stand on that bracket, it actually pushes up against the frame, so it gives it a little bit of stability there. So just wanna show you that right here before we do it down there, because it's gonna be a little bit hard to see. Next, we're gonna torque the body mount bolt to 65 foot-pounds. I'm gonna tighten the nut up against the bracket. Very similar step here on our second bracket. So this one did fall out on this side. Just wanna make sure that we put it back in the same position when we mount the bracket. So I'm leaving this a little bit loose for right now so I can just rotate this, because we're gonna do a similar kind of deal with the bolt on this second bolt, or second hole. Remember, we're in a 3500, so we're going down here. If you got a 1500, you're gonna go through this bolt. Got a shorter bolt for this second one. I'm gonna go through this hole. So you get some threading through there. We're gonna take one of these rubber caps, slip it on. So we're gonna rotate this back. I wanna make sure that the step is perpendicular to the body right here. 65 foot-pounds again. Make sure that this comes in contact with the frame. The back here. We'll go ahead and tighten up this flange nut so it doesn't move on us. Pretty much a rinse and repeat right here on bracket number 3. Similar deal right here on this nut here. You can see we have a 3500, so we're in the top hole. You got a 1500, I believe you go in the bottom. Same type of deal with your shorter bolt right here, with your nut pre-threaded on there. Rotate this back in place. Again, right here, I wanna make sure that my bracket coming out is perpendicular with the van. Gonna go to 65 foot-pounds again. Similar deal here. Make sure this is nice and snug up against the frame. Once it is, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this nut behind it. Looks like I'm tight all the way, so should be good there. On our fourth bracket here, on our forward leaf spring bracket, we just need to take this nut off. So this nut is a little tricky to get off because it does spin, so you can actually fit a 19-inch socket or something with an extension and grab the bolt from the other side, then just loosen the nut like this. Or this does have a hex head on it if you wanted to kind of do the dual wrench thing right here. I just found it easier to hold this and then with an impact or something, suck this nut out. Next, we're gonna take one of these washers and include it in the kit, put it right there, put our bracket on, another washer, and then put our bolt back on. Just gonna get this snug tight, because we're gonna do a measurement of all the other brackets so we can figure out what height to mount this at. Next, I want to measure the distance from these brackets to the body on all of them here so I can make sure that they're all consistent. I'm just going to go to the same line right here in the body. 65 foot-pounds on this one as well. Next, we're going to take our Omega 2 step. Take a little T-bolt here. It's a square head bolt. We're gonna go into, there's 3 channels in this step, 1, 2, and 3. We do 2 bolts per bracket location. So that's gonna be 4 bracket locations, 2 bolts each, so 8 bolts, 4 and 4. And we'll slide these in here, line it up in place. Now, once you get all your bolts lined up with the holes and you get them through there, you wanna take one of those serrated nuts and just get them loosely secured. You're gonna take your tape measure out and just make sure that it is a consistent distance from the body of the van and in between your wheels. It's exactly where you want it to be. And then you're gonna go back and tighten those up. Once you have that tightened down, you're gonna take your step end caps, and these actually slide in on the edge there. You're gonna use some more of those square-headed bolts to come through here, and you're gonna attach these with a nut. Okay, next we're gonna attach our step plates. These brackets like this, they just have a little grip on them for stepping on them. Now, the manual does give you some suggested measurements on where you could put these. It even suggests mounting these before the step is on the vehicle. I like to do this last because I want to see where everything lines up. And in this kit, it's 2 sides. You get 6 of these for both sides. Now, technically, the only doors we have that we were going to step on is right here, 1 on the driver's side, and then right here. So you can figure out where you want to place these. I'm actually going to put some on the driver's side as well, because I want to use this as a step for reaching my ladders and all of that on the roof. So we're going to go ahead and line these up. We're going to drill a 1/8 inch hole in these 4 locations in the step and then use the provided screws to attach. Let's get there. Actually going to put 2 screws in this one so it indexes the steps. Going to keep it still while I drill my other holes. Now with our step pads in place, that pretty much concludes the installation on the passenger side, the right side. It is exactly the same, just mirrored over on the driver's side, so we're not going to show you that because it's essentially the exact same thing. Just going to go through that same process. Again, make sure that you take a look at that installation manual from Luverne for the ultimate source of information. Now, if you're looking for these steps or any other equipment to get your van or truck ready for work, be sure to check us out at upfitsupply.com. And my name is Ryan, and have a good one.